Hello everyone, my name is Nikki Nelson and this presentation is for Econ and Film. Today I'll be presenting The Price of Inequality written by Nobel Prize winning economist Joseph E. Stiglitz, and it was published in 2013 by W. W. Norton. This book examines the causes and consequences of rising economic inequality in the United States and challenges the myth that inequality is simply the result of impersonal market forces. Before we begin, I'd like to invite you to actively engage with the material. After watching the presentation, please add your own unique question or observation about the material and try to reflect on the arguments presented, especially the political and sociological consequences of inequality. Avoid repeating other people's comments, and I will try to reply to all of them. Stiglitz begins by stating the central problem. Economic inequality in America is not inevitable. It's the result of choices, specifically policy decisions made by those in power. In the last few decades, wealth and income have become increasingly concentrated in the hands of the top 1%. But what's more concerning is that this inequality is undermining the foundations of democracy, eroding trust in an institution, and weakening the economy as a whole. Unlike some economists who view inequality as a necessary byproduct of growth or innovation, Stiglitz argues that it is largely driven by systems that favor rent-seeking, political lobbying, and monopoly power. This creates a feedback loop where the wealthy use their influence to shape laws and markets in their favor, reinforcing inequality and weakening everyone else's economic and political voice. In chapters 1 through 4, Stiglitz builds his case systematically. Chapter 1, titled America's 1% Problem, presents the data. The richest 1% of Americans control more than 40% of the nation's wealth, but this is not just about numbers, it's about the growing gap in political influences, access, and opportunity. Chapter 2 introduces the idea of rent seeking, a critical concept in understanding how inequality is created. Rather than earning money by creating new goods or services, many wealthy individuals and corporations profit by manipulating rules, tax codes, and government policy. For example, financial firms lobby for deregulation or tax loopholes that allow them to capture a greater share of national income without increasing productivity. Chapter 3 challenges the belief that free markets alone can create fair outcomes. Stiglitz argues that markets are not neutral. Their outcomes depend on rules, laws, institutions, tax codes, and power dynamics. Without strong institutions to balance interests, the market tips towards those already in power. In other words, markets reflect the politics behind them. Finally, Chapter 4, Why It Matters, lays out the consequences. Inequality doesn't just hurt the poor, it hurts everyone. Economies with high inequality tend to grow more slowly, invest less in public goods, and experience more political instability. What I found most compelling in this analysis is Stiglitz's emphasis that inequality is not just a distributional problem, but a structural one. It's not just about how income is split, but how the systems are rigged to ensure that one group can consistently benefit while others are shut out. Now let's place Stiglitz's critique in a broader political and historical context. Historically, we've seen that high inequality often accompanies weakened democratic governance. From the Gilded Age to post-financial crisis America, concentrated wealth has led to weakened labor rights, reduced competition, and increased corruption. From a political economy standpoint, Stiglitz is clearly critiquing the neoliberal model that emerged in the 1980s, characterized by deregulation, tax cuts for the wealthy, weakened unions, and reduced public investment. This model promised growth through efficiency, but in reality, it produced economic fragility, social resentment, and political polarization. Sociologically, inequality erodes trust in institutions. When people feel the system is rigged, they disengage. They stop voting, they stop believing in upward mobility, and eventually they may even stop believing in democracy itself. Stiglitz's works connects these threads. He shows how inequality is not just the result of economic factors, but also reflects historical shifts in political power and institutional design. The wealthy didn't just earn more, they rewrote the rules to keep it that way. So what's the takeaway? Stiglitz argues that inequality is a choice, and because it is a policy-driven problem, it can also be solved through policy reform. Some of his proposed solutions include progressive taxation, particularly on capital gains and top incomes, greater investment in education, infrastructure, and healthcare, stronger labor protections to support collective bargaining, and antitrust laws to break up monopolies and restore competition. What's important is that these aren't just moral arguments, they are economic ones. Countries that reduce inequality tend to have more sustainable growth, more stable democracies, and higher social trust. The central message of The Price of Inequality is that we can do better, but only if we recognize that the economy is shaped by the decisions we make as a society. Thank you for listening. I look forward to your questions, feedback, and any thoughts that you have about the role of inequality in our economy and political system. Please feel free to post unique insights and help move the conversation forward.